Christian groups dire warning on frighteningly real right-wing threat. A right-wing effort to amend the U.S. Constitution is being denounced by Christian group Faithful America as a frighteningly real threat. The group Convention of States Action, backed by prominent Republican lawmakers like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, is hoping to force a convention that critics say could allow a small right-wing minority to fundamentally change the country's legal framework. That's startling. It says, so obviously their efforts are to write Christian nationalism into the Constitution, overturn our most basic freedoms, and replace the separation of church and state with an American theocracy. Lord have mercy, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what they're suggesting. This is what their aims are. Now, you may be tempted to think that this is just this particular religious group, Faithful America, that is, that's opposing this movement, who's putting words into the mouths of the leaders of the Convention of States. But we're going to take a look at articles that are coming directly from their website so that you can hear what they have to say for themselves.
And that's important, lest people think it's just an outsider speaking on behalf of the movement. We want to hear from the movement itself. And two more points. You just referenced Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. We know which side of the aisle he's on, and we know which administration he's backing politically, and what religious affiliation he has, Project 2025 and Heritage Foundation. And while he may appear to be Protestant, he leans Roman Catholic in policy and teachings. And the Speaker of the House, number two, the Speaker of the House can bring a bill to the floor to be voted on. And remember, he's connected to Project 2025. Here it is. Marie.
Right. So when we look at this article here, it says the wall of separation between church and state originated in a private letter, not the Constitution. We're going to take a look at a second article. It says, is separation of church and state in the Constitution? It says, to me, one of the biggest misconceptions is found in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Of course, he goes to tell us of the First Amendment. It says, many people believe this means there is a separation of church and state. Nowhere in the Constitution do you find this statement. So, we can deduce based on these articles that they aren't opposed to, but they in fact are advocating for the union of church and state. Now, we're going to go back to the article from Newsweek, and we're just going to read a few more lines from there.
Marie, before you go there, as you're referencing statements from their platform, Convention of States, since they're telling us that they don't believe in the separation of church and state, when the Convention of States is called, do you think the first item on their business agenda would not be to be plain and to rewrite the First Amendment? I wonder if it may sound like this and read like this. Not only Congress, but states can establish religion and then prohibit the free exercise thereof. Similar language. I'm wondering if they would put in their rewriting that there is a union of church and state, and that there's no such thing as church and state separation. I mean, not those direct words, but you understand the sentiment and the rhetoric that they would put in their rewriting of the U.S. Constitution. And God's word says it will take place. It's not if, it's when. Marie.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, again, this article from Newsweek says Faithful America goes on to say that COSA plan would allow Christian nationalism to gut the Constitution in Jesus's hijacked name. There are zero rules for such a convention, meaning that the people whom conservative states select to rewrite the Constitution would be unelected, unaccountable, with no limit to what they can change. I mean, that should send chills, up and down our spines to think that they have the capability to be able to, again, pick whatever individual they decide to bring in to be able to dictate what the U.S. Citizens, have to adhere to.